Yo guys, welcome to Deadline. I'm Violent. This is GRIZZ Zombies, but we're here joined with quite a few different people from all across the world. I got Cal Inferno.
What's up, guys?
Got Wasu.
Hey, what's up?
GRIZZ Winner.
Yo.
And Dino.
Yo, how's it going?
We just had an awesome DLC 4 Revelations trailer that just came out. It is the intro cutscene. And so what we've done is designed 4 different topics that we're going to cover based off this trailer and the storyline and our current status as to where it's at. A link to everybody's descriptions, channels, Twitter accounts will be in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. And away we go. Is Dr. Monty good?
I have that little bad feeling. Like, you know, you get a little bad gut feeling about him? That's what I have.
I think he's
Like,
just looking after himself.
I think we can establish now that he is somewhat of the architect of the whole zombie storyline happening.
Yes, he's been every map so far that we've had. All of the gumballs and everything. He's kind of like able to hop from universe to universe very easily.
And so by defining Dr. Monty, I want to clarify that if we were to think of the Matrix, which Wasu talked about a long time ago, I feel somewhat that this is happening, except the idea that we're gonna wake up again in a room. I feel like it's the same story of he's watching this one character that is special, that he's finally made, and that it's gonna play out the way he's anticipating it. And every other trial has failed. This has happened before. This has happened before.
Yeah,
and it's failed many times the same way. But this time is different. This is the premise character that makes it.
But
This is the one and only Richtofen.
We're still going against the world premise fail. Because we
Right.
get that cipher from Shadows of Evil.
But is that just foreshadowing and putting something in there to say that it's just failed every time before, and so it's destined to fail again?
I think that's what they want us to believe. That it's going to keep failing. There's no way out of it. But I think what they mean that it's going to fail is that they're all going to die. Like, they're going to complete it. They're going to mess up a good amount of times, but they're going to have to die.
So
I think it means that they will fail.
So is the new refreshment part to this whole story is that Richtofen has now gained the Chronorium knowledge, which has probably never happened in the history of this going on, and gained the knowledge of the blood vials and what that can do as his secondary backup plan. So that's our next topic anyway, so we'll just get right onto that, because we don't know enough about Dr. Monty to really make a decision. We just have quite a few things that are sketchy, and we have some things that are obvious. And he's the narrator of the story, and so we need to just run off that information, and we'll dive more into that once we get into the Easter eggs. This is all kind of what it's encompassing, is the Easter egg talk. This isn't whole Easter egg talk here. But Richtofen's plan. Specifically, he has blood vials. He's got them on his characters now, the other characters, which means, is his plan bigger than we think? Is it just, are those safety measures for himself? Is he the only one that can survive? Do they all have to die? And that is the summoning key is not with them. They do not have the summoning key, alright? Someone who does have the summoning key is a Shadow Man. Because you think the Shadow Man's just going to drop that key right there?
No, I mean, I think it's sort of his backup plan if it doesn't work again. Like you said before, it's happened before, it just hasn't worked. Sort of like a backup plan if it doesn't going to work out, that they have the blood vials as like a safety precaution in a way.
In Zetsubo, it says, he quotes basically, if he goes to like a wrong place, he can use them as like a backup place then. So basically if he goes to like a place and something's going to happen, he can transport himself there to a different world. Because in Zetsubo no Ushima, the actual quote basically says it's an insurance policy just in case we don't like where we are.
I like that.
So maybe instead
of
using them for ourselves, we actually using them to like transform put our kid form into another place to keep them safe. Because it's all about the children keeping safe, and now we know there's Edward, there's Takio, there's Nikolai, and there's Dempsey. all as
You got
kids.
Samantha in there too.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I came
So
across a
maybe we
quote.
still need to protect them.
I came across a Richtofen quote where he's talking about the blood vials in Gorod Karabi, and he ends it with "Rest in peace, Sal."
Yeah. That's with the electric trap, right?
I think, but what does
Yeah,
that mean? Does that mean
gotta-
Sal DeLuca's dead, and that's how they got the blood vials? Is they had to actually kill that character and take the blood?
My question is, where did they come across? Because I know we see all these hints and stuff that all these maps are linked, but
Mhm.
where would Richtofen and Sal DeLuca meet? Would it be Mob of the Dead?
I think it might be a bit early, just before Luke like causes like trouble against on him, if that makes any sense. So basically, before everything happened in Mob of the Dead, he basically saw him then.
Well, does Richtofen, he's traveling
Because they
through
might need
time,
to-
is he traveling through time and comes across them bleeding and kills them because they're going to die anyway?
It's possible that, you know what, when Richtofen is doing his traversing through the teleporters, the MTD, he encounters the Mob of the Dead crew because they go in to that ether through the plane that they're flying, the Icarus. Right? There's that moment in Mob of the Dead where it flashes white right
Yeah.
before we go to the bridge.
Right.
Okay, so it's in that I believe that's where Richtofen encounters that crew, and we're not going to get told that in game. It'll be something for the comics,
Okay.
I agree.
because then
That's
they can
seriously-
point back to the game and be like, "See, this is where we were trying to tell you. You didn't pay attention."
You got to think about the comics, yeah.
Revelations is going to have multiple areas from old maps, and it's just going to be so story driven, but not from face value. Like when we jump into it coming up next month, we'll know that it's deep and crazy, but it just won't be face value of what does that mean.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to reveal what the blood vials are used for. I think that's going to be comic material, just by how they're just not going forth and really telling us what they're for. They're just always really secretive and it's for an
Jason
insurance
Blundell
policy.
needs to either
Yeah.
explain what's going on with the blood vials or do something.
But they did.
can't
They
just
did
leave
tell
it.
us it's an insurance policy.
Yeah, maybe that, but what else? We need to know more.
Well, think if once the map comes out, Xbox is released, and we get that second video with the alternative, basically story going on. That is, I think, going to be key, especially when the comics come out, because I think they're going to point back to that kind of material and be like, "See, this is what we're talking about. We showed you." Again, you weren't paying attention.
Here's another thing, the last thing I'm going to talk about the blood vials with, and that is leading up to the final cutscene of the Easter egg. And so we always end an Easter egg by fighting a boss. At least that's something new that was introduced in Black Ops 3. And so with that comes the discovery of what Jason Blundell's been teasing this whole time, that is the 1.0 Staffs of the Ancients. I think that will be not a special weapon. I do not think it'll be a special weapon, but it will be a mule kick or somewhat of a third weapon that we could pick up, just like Origins.
Yep. I think what's going to happen is once we get into the boss fight, it's just going to be there. Like there's going to be 4 staffs along in the same exact things we had in Origins. And we're going to be able to pick one up and choose when we're going to fight with for the boss fight. But I don't think we're going to actually have.
Yeah,
I don't think we're gonna actually have the entire map like to play with. Like, I don't think we can.
I think
even
that
if
would be
you're
a
not
sweet
playing.
way to end the boss battle, is just them giving you the original staffs.
That would be cool.
I think we're
The
going to
thing
have
is
the
who gets what.
African Servant as the upgrade. I've said that for so long. And I think we're going to have the staffs in the boss fight. I agree with Car.
I hope we find out how to upgrade the Apothecary Servant, but I don't want the Apothecary Servant back.
I'm
I think-
sorry, but I think that's going to be the whole fight. That's going to be it. That's going to be the whole wonder weapon. There's
Has
so many people that want that back.
has Monty helped our characters before in the sense of intervened in time and space to do something to help them?
Gobblegums. He's been giving them
Yeah.
gobblegums.
And that's new, right? That he's only done
No.
that.
He gave a mystery box right off the bat.
Right.
The
Yep.
first very map, he intervened.
You're right.
Right,
Yes.
he gave us a
it's
fighting
that.
chance to whatever is happening with this zombie apocalypse that keeps going cyclical.
Mm-hmm. And so with that,
we still
that would
don't
make
know
sense for
why
the staffs too. In the boss fight, is that's the only thing that's left to defeat everything.
If we're looking at exactly what they're telling us with, like, if you look at Nikolai and his bullet wound, right, it showed up in Origins. So, other words, what's happening in this story already has happened. So Primus is doomed to fail, but they didn't fail. But if you sit and think about it from the player perspective, if you don't complete the Easter egg, what do? You fail.
Yeah.
Right? It's not until you actually complete the Easter egg that you proceed in the story. So I think that's what's happening, is that we got to get all these icons so that we can upgrade the Apothicon Servant, because the Shadow Key, or the Summoning Key, we already know what it was used for. The Shadow Man entrapped himself in there so that he could take over Maxis. That was the point of the Summoning Key, to summon the Shadow Man. So that's done.
In this game.
They don't need it no more, and it's left in the house. The Shadow Man pocketed it, right, and then left.
Oh.
I think you have to stop that giant Apothicon creature that they mistakenly showed us with that screenshot. That's coming closer towards us, towards the camera, right, in the background. Right? Yeah. So if we don't stop that, it'll consume us, the house, and everything, and it's game over, because Monty's in the house. The doors close, and our characters walk out, and that's the start of the co-op game.
Well, also in the trailer, didn't it show at that the big creature? What was it shooting at again? I'm blanking.
Those 115 rocks.
Yeah, it was 115 rocks that they're shooting out each universe.
They were doing that before Shadow Man took Maxis. They were showing us that's what they were doing. They're shooting them through those portals and infecting worlds. So they were sitting waiting until the characters would play with 115, which would then make them influenced by Apothicon Servant, which is the Shadow Man, and then he'd come in there and try to take over, right? And that's what they're basically doing. But once he took over Maxis, he was in the house that Monty created for Maxis, the perfect world, which is actually occurring in Call of Duty 2's Quarantine. So in other words, they took him, it's like Treyarch's way of going and just like totally Easter egging their whole franchise. They took and placed themselves in a timeline that didn't have zombies, which was Call of Duty 2. And that battle actually took place in our reality. That's why Monty's talking to the YouTubers and addressing and breaking the fourth wall, because that's what they said, is we went and took him and put him somewhere where the Apothicon couldn't get. But because you guys went and messed everything up, now the Apothecon's here. Shadow Man's in our reality. I think the staffs are going to be more like the bows.
Yeah, but I think the staffs will have an extra feature. I think they'll be able to revive people with stabbing them.
It tells us in Origins, right, and the staffs that Maxis recreated had that ability. So you got to think about it, that's what we're going to be doing. And from jumping to other maps, the transportation is going to be those portals. So the portal that Richtofen uses in Shadows of Evil, you can actually see that in the trailer. The giant Apothicon creatures are using that exact same method of transportation. I just think the staff's going to be a cooperative tool that, like, you use it as light and it'll entrap the Shadow Man for a period, and then that's what we got to do to kill him. It won't be something that kills him.
I feel like I agree with that too, because the Shadow Man can teleport and stuff. I don't know how we're gonna get close enough to where we can actually stab him. We'd have to entrap him somehow.
Combination of the staffs, like the wind,
combination of the staffs,
just to maybe freeze him in place and then attack him certain ways.
Yeah,
well, if we use all 4 staffs at once, it's going to make that binding light that we're shown from Origins Primus picture, right? And upon that, we're going to use an Apothicon Servant, and we're going to shoot that motherfucker back into the dark ether. I kid you not, that's what's going to happen. We're going to get rid of that bastard, because we can't destroy them. We can only banish them, because if you look at the original story, Keepers, when they go to the dark ether, turn to Apothicon. It doesn't say that we can kill them. It just says that we can banish them.
But the Apothicon Servant is Apothicon. So that might be the ticket we need to actually defeat the Shadow Man. That might be the only thing that can actually damage him, because it's a weapon of his own creation.
Yeah, fight him with their own fire.
But how do you think we're going to acquire the Apothicon Servant? Like,
I'm not sure.
Through the teleporters.
They just keep teasing. Through those teleporters, you might be right.
The Shadow Man's fractured the universe completely now.
Do you think we're going to have the keepers here helping us as well again?
No,
I don't think so.
I think the keepers can't help us no more.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting. Everyone wants more on the giant, right? So that might be something that we can hold on to. Maybe is that the giant is where it all comes back to, but it might just happen in Revelations as well. There might just be something that you do the second time you come back into the map, and there it is. But what do you do? What's the indicator? Well, if you look in the trailer of the new trailer for the intro cutscene, you'll notice that right next to the teleporter is what? There's one of those computers, one of the same computers that we saw in Go Rod Karavi when we did we're holding down the house, we're downloading something on the card, right? There's that computer in there.
Yeah.
That same computer is in the cutscene, meaning that might be what we need to use for the Easter egg icons.
We also see the Dragon Command too, though. If you're talking about that, we're seeing the Dragon Command there too.
Yeah, the cutscene.
With the dual kind of looking thing.
Think of the thing on Buried. When you go up there and you push X on that box, lights light up, right?
Yep.
What do we do when we are doing the Dragon Controller in Go Rod Karabi?
The lights light up.
That is the same type of module that's on the computer when we download the thing on the card. Every person needs to go there and push X and it lights up. That might be the actual thing that's in our maps that allows us to use the Easter egg icons. Is the last icon for Revelations the Chronorium?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that. That would be a cool, not really introduction, but because we haven't really seen much of we haven't even really seen the Chronorium. Because we just know about it.
We just hear about it.
Yeah,
I think, but that would be robbing the comic of its basically treasure. The comic is being
that's
the medium to explain the Chronorium. So I think we've seen the Chronorium in Der Eisendrache, right? So they'll be able to point back and be like, see, there it was just sitting there. You guys even went up and clicked on it.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that we'll need an icon to basically encompass everything. So we have 4 gate worms, we have a summoning key. If we were to get a fifth one, no, it's a sixth one, a 6th icon, then we could use all 6 of those icons on that machine, and then they would be gone. You would have to go back and redo it again, but you would get some reward for doing that. And that reward is either an awesome cutscene or it's what did we get? What did we get when we did it, right? We heard the end, the very end of that timeline in Black Ops 2. Either a Maxis side or a Richthofen side. And I don't think you were awarded all the perks and everything, were you? Right after that? It was only when you beat the Easter egg.
No, you're right, no.
So it was just a little rewarded cutscene. Maybe it'll be an in-game cutscene just like that. Or it might be just an actual animated cutscene. This is after you beat Revelations. This is after you beat DLC 4. Then you can achieve this.
Oh, so after you finish the Easter egg, you get that thing, and then you can take it into another place.
Exactly, and I'm thinking it's that computer in Go Rod, but it might be the computer in Revelations that we do it at.
But how would we get to Kina? Through the house?
Well, the way I think it's going to play out, is it's going to be like the challenges in Go Rod, right? So we're going to have something that's activated. Boom, we need to achieve this. Guess what? Teleporter changed this time. Now we need to go do that series of events at this location.
Okay.
And maybe it'll be random.
The blood, though. What if it's because we got blood on us, our characters, and because we're in the Infinite right now with the Shadow Man, with Monty, and the children, they're able to go into the universes that we took the blood from.
But yeah, they could be our insurance
and we
policy.
Have how many blood?
Traveling to Kina, traveling to other worlds in the actual Easter egg. Through the actual blood.